Hello there, welcome to another Hip Eclectic Hope for Yang video. I'm Sherry Kirchhoff, and today I need to discuss the Colorado divorce and custody laws that have been preventing me from having any Yang painting time. As it is, I am currently still fighting the American Civil War to end slavery. That's not over yet. The state of Colorado has gone above and beyond the call of anything reasonable to give attackers and predators the rights they want, giving their survivors, a very short leash to walk freely about on. I have been in contact with many agencies, and many government officials locally and nationally. I've been in touch with the Yang 2020 campaign asking, what Andrew Yang as president would want to do and would be able to do to stop the enforcement of, what happened to us. As some of you who are familiar with my videos know, I was taken into slavery on Mother's Day of 2014 by a serial predator, Thomas John Stetzer, who, like he has done since 1979, trafficked and abused and exploited me and held me under constant threat of death. He raped me for 14 months at knife point, forcing me to conceive a child, and he then trained that child rigorously to abuse me and fight violently in order to express any and all of his needs and wants. A year ago, Aaron communicated that he was hungry by hitting someone or kicking someone. He expressed that he wanted to play by taking the child's toy. He expressed everything through screams and tantrums. Life was all about dominance, force, dominance, control. Those were Thomas Stetzer's laws, and those laws are being enforced by the state of Colorado as follows. With parenting time, in determining parenting time and decision-making responsibilities, the court is guided by a statute 14-10-124, and then in parentheses is 1.5, concerning the best interest of the child, giving paramount consideration to the child's safety and the child's physical, mental, and emotional conditions and needs. All of these factors were completely ignored throughout the trial. Aaron's safety was in danger every moment he was near Thomas Stetzer. His physical, mental, and emotional conditions and needs were not met. He was fed on a regimen of protein shakes and milk and was not nurtured. Every bit of our lives was dictated by terror and by violence and by force. That's the opposite of anything concerning the best interest of the child. So they say that they consider the child's best interest and the policy of maintaining the child's relationship with both parents. They don't consider the child's best interest. They only maintain the policy of keeping the child's relationship with both parents. According to a case law made with the marriage in 2004, children are entitled to reasonable parenting time with both parents unless the court finds that parenting time would endanger the physical health or significantly impair the emotional development of the child. Now, Central Visitation already made that finding. That's why they stopped our case. However, Colorado law goes so far as to say that even a parent, and I'm reading this, even a parent who is not fit to be a primary caregiver or share decision-making responsibilities is entitled to reasonable parenting time. So it doesn't matter how abusive this person is, or how irresponsible they are, or how terrible they are. Nothing matters. So anyway, moving on, the factors, really don't matter when Colorado wants to give parenting time to unfit parents. They are completely determined to endanger a child's safety in the interest of equality. So, they say also that they consider the interaction and interrelationship of the child with his or her parents, siblings, or any other person who may significantly affect the child's best interest. Now, there wasn't an opportunity, they didn't offer, but it seemed like the child family investigator wanted an opportunity to see Thomas with Aaron in a supervised visitation setting. If she would have offered that, I would have accepted, but I would have had issues with it, because it's like I've said before, having supervised visitation with a known predator, with someone who raped the mother in order to cause the conception of the child and held the family at knife point for 5 years, this is a dangerous predator. And to say that it's okay to be in a supervised situation with this dangerous predator, where I can't keep him safe, the supervised people are there to be fooled with this I love you show for a few minutes, they weren't able to see the Stetzer slavery hell that Thomas created. For them to say that they consider factors that they're clearly ignoring is just bogus. But, they also failed to take into consideration the child's adjustment to his or her home, school, and community. Since Operation Freedom, Aaron Kirchhoff is a completely different little boy than Aaron Stetzer was. He communicates in full sentences, he plays nicely with his friends almost all the time. Every little kid has squabbles once in a while, every adult has squabbles once in a while. But whereas before Operation Freedom, I was receiving 2 or 3 incident reports a week of Aaron severely injuring another child, now, in the year since Operation Freedom, there might be an incident report maybe once a month, once every other month. And those incidents involve other children injuring Aaron, not the other way around as it was during Stetzer slavery hell. And they also fail to take into consideration the mental and physical health of all individuals involved. Thomas targeted me back from when we lived in Wisconsin because of my disabled status. When I was going to become homeless in Wisconsin, nobody had any answers for me, except for the friend I made at the battered women's shelter, who told me that Colorado is magical. It has soup kitchens, there's housing lists, there's Section 8 vouchers, there's food stamps even if you don't have a child, there's Medicaid even if you don't have a child. Colorado sounded like the promised land. So I came here, because if I would have been caught being homeless in Wisconsin, I would have been arrested for vagrancy. And someone like me can't survive in jail. I'm just not, I'm not a jailbird. They'd pick me apart. So, they don't take into consideration that I was targeted by Thomas Stetzer specifically because of my physical disabilities. I tried to make that point and was cut off. They also failed to take into consideration Thomas's mental state. He suffers from delusions of criminal grandeur. Thomas Stetzer swears to have killed the chief of police in La Crosse in 1983, and after some research I found that woman to be alive. In the years since her parents have died, but the woman that he swears to have killed, him and his alleged twin brother, she's still alive and well. And this is the murder that supposedly initiated Thomas and his twin brother, also Thomas, into the Outlaw Motorcycle Club. According to Thomas, saying that his grandfather, one of the founders, initiated him. So they also don't take into consideration how badly Thomas is falling behind in his anger management classes. They don't take into consideration that his probation officer said how, in denial he is of his anger and his control issues. This is his probation officer, this is his babysitter telling you that, yeah, he's full of crap, Your Honor. But he wasn't at trial. And I wasn't, of course, able to question the child family investigator about the probation officer's take on anything, because that would have been hearsay. So, of course, this is just another measure of stifling. But they also fail to take into consideration the ability of Thomas and myself to encourage the sharing of love, affection, and contact between the child and the other party. There isn't supposed to be love, affection, and a relationship between a rapist and the child that the repeat rapes produced. According to any standard of human decency, my rapist should not have been allowed to own us. But the state of Colorado, it goes out of their way to not care. They want equality. It doesn't matter how unequal the parties are. But, let's see. And they also fail to take into consideration the ability of each of Thomas and myself to place the needs of our child ahead of his or her own needs. Thomas has gone out of his way in every way to put Aaron's life in danger in order to force me to obey him for the last 5 years. In court, Thomas said a couple times, so, taking Aaron's name in the school off the protected list means I can go to the preschool and take him, right? Like, he said that. And he also said in court at least a few times that he owns knives, continues to, plans to continue owning knives. He made the claim that he used to sell knives at the flea market in Wisconsin, and I think he said Columbus, but I don't know if he mentioned that in court. I don't know, whatever. But he mentioned his plan to continue that here in Colorado. And that's fine. They don't take into consideration at all that Aaron and I were Thomas Stetzer's hostages for 5 years. The law of slavery was the law of our household. We were kept in constant fear and terror. But according to this paperwork, they say that the trial court may not completely deny a parent parenting time under the best interest standard without express consideration of whether doing so is the least detrimental alternative. So in other words, keeping Thomas away from Aaron has to be the only possible way of preventing harm of happening to my son. And that's the truth. This is a guy who raped me at knife point to conceive this child, and then continued raping me at knife point while pregnant. He threatened to kill me if I didn't marry him while pregnant. He raped me at knife point for it stopped in July, so it was 4 months after my son was born. He was still in our room in his crib that I got from a Denver Rescue Mission donation. He was in his crib in our room while Thomas had his knives out, one to my neck, and forcing sex. This is not somebody who has the interests of my child in any consideration. This is somebody who will do anything and everything in order to, including using the child as a pawn in order to promote his power. You know, I have a witness who was in school the day of court. You know, she'd missed too many, I can't make her miss too many court classes, you know, so she couldn't make it into court. But, you know, she was there the last time that Thomas staged a kidnapping. You know, he took Aaron, took the cash, took the car keys, shoved me into the corner, prevented me from fighting him off, took everything he could, and darted out the door. He came back several hours later, saying that he just went up the street a couple blocks to go get cigarettes. Doesn't take 4 hours to go get cigarettes 4 blocks away, not even if I walk to and from. And it doesn't take Aaron, and, you know, you don't need Aaron, you don't need all the cash, you don't need you don't. And you don't pose it as a disappearance, you know? I'm taking everything and I'm gone and you're never going to find me. That's what he did. And I have a witness to that. But I couldn't call her into trial, and it doesn't matter to the court anyway. They will only bar contact between Thomas and my son if they ever listen to how dangerous he is. And they refuse to even take that into consideration. All they want is parental equality. It doesn't matter how dangerous and destructive and terrible of a predator that the father was. And then, you know, further injustices in court. I was denied this right to initiate the order of child support pursuant to case law 14-10-115 and 2A in parentheses. Child support may be ordered for the time period that occurred after the date of the party's physical separation, or the filing of the petition or service upon the respondent. So, like, when I filed for divorce or when we separated, whichever date is latest, but whichever date is prior to the entry of the support order on December 12th, when we had our divorce hearing. So all this time I was asking this Judge Torrington and the other judges in between about child support and about, you know, child support and alimony from the separation date. And I was told, oh no, it'll be handled on December 12th. I was denied my right to a full year of child support. It's not going to actually start until January 1st. And so it'll be, you know, 11 months after the separation. So for those 11 months, TANF was my child support. And when I asked in court why that was, you know, why I'm not receiving back child support, the city attorney asked me, oh, you received TANF during that period, right? Well, yes, ma'am. Okay, well, she's a welfare queen. She doesn't need child support. It's basically what the judgment was. And they also do some funny finagling of numbers when they determine income. Income, according to the court, means actual gross income if a parent is employed to his or her full capacity. And the child support statutes define income very broadly to include sources beyond those specifically listed. But they say here that a parent is voluntarily unemployed or underemployed. Child support shall be calculated based on a determination of potential income. They say that the exception to that is if a parent is physically or mentally disabled, which I am. But I had to have proved my disability case before the divorce case. according to the court, I am voluntarily underemployed, meaning that I am underemployed intentionally of free will in order to, the court must find that the parent is shirking his or her child support obligation by unreasonably forgoing giving up higher paying obtainable employment. So in other words, since I was trafficked for 5 years and prevented from doctors for basically my entire life before Operation Freedom, you know, I was lucky to even have a prosthetic leg during my time in Colorado because of Masters, Thomas Stetzer, and those in the past in Wisconsin. So it is because of, you know, my time being trafficked by Thomas and my time being forbidden from doctors by him and my other masters that I've been having extreme difficulty in proving my disability case. And because I am not currently on disability, it means that I am shirking my child support obligation by unreasonably forgoing higher paying obtainable employment. So they considered me to have the income of a full-time minimum wage job, even though I am disabled and I was targeted by Thomas Stetzer in Wisconsin specifically because I'm disabled. Since he was removed from our home, he has trafficked at least 6 prostitutes that I have seen in court. I've been told that there's been 1 or 2 others. So he's had between 6 and 8 or more prostitutes in this 11-month period from Operation Freedom. So if that doesn't tell you anything, women who are, you know, homeless, addicted to drugs, laying tricks for their money, literally have nothing else to lose, cannot tolerate Thomas Stetzer's company, cannot tolerate being Thomas Stetzer's property, and were either lucky enough to get out or they're now dead. Who knows with this guy? Because as often as he's threatened death and as vagrantly as that's not the word, as obviously as he's allowed to have his knives and his plots to abduct Aaron from school and his plots to kill me and abandon me on the side of the mountain for the wildlife to eat, these are all fully accepted by the court. And meanwhile, I'm not disabled because I've been trafficked and I've been prevented from medical care. One of the rights I was denied was my chance to prove that appropriate employment does not mean any possible job. I could have and should have had the opportunity to let's see, where's the best phrase in here? Let's see, regarding the marriage of Paige in Colorado in 2003, the spouse seeking maintenance had an advanced education of and prior work experience as a psychologist. However, there was evidence at the time of divorce she was suffering from psychological problems that limited her earning ability, and further evidence that even the average salary of a psychologist, which is huge, was not sufficient for her to support herself while she's dealing with her psychological problems. As such, she was found to have satisfied the threshold criteria that she was unable to support herself through appropriate employment. I was denied the right to prove this same problem. You know, I listed my medical diagnoses, but since I didn't have my medical file with me, here, Your Honor, I didn't know I'd be going to disability hearing on December 12th as well, in short. So I was denied my right to argue the fact that I can't even be appropriately employed, and if I could, I can't take care of myself, working full-time minimum wage, because I suffer from such physical and mental limitations. My work potential is very limited, or else I'd have more time and potential to run my online businesses or anything like that. But all I can do right now is continue to fight the civil war here. And, so yeah, for purposes of calculating maintenance, the potential income is properly imputed to a party who is voluntarily unemployed or underemployed. So because of this, I was given credit for having a full-time minimum wage job, even though I can't work full-time minimum wage. I can't work part-time lousy wage. I'm having a difficult time maintaining the minimums on any of my endeavors, especially because I'm fighting the civil war here. I'm literally fighting every day to keep my son and me safe from our former owner, Thomas Stetzer. He's hiding somewhere in Westminster right now, and I'm not allowed to know his address. He knows exactly where I am. I've been struggling all day today with police calling me because he's at the building, my apartment building, insisting on coming in and getting his stuff. Now, even according to Judge Torrington, who used her position to enforce rape and slavery as the law, even Judge Torrington said that we have to coordinate this over at the Talking Parents website. We have to schedule this. As in, don't just show up with cops to my door with the U-Haul thinking you're gonna come in. You need to schedule, Friday at 3, Thursday at 11. You need to schedule this. Don't just show up with cops. So meanwhile, all day today, I've been getting called by Denver police saying, oh yeah, he's still here, he wants to come to your house. Oh yeah, he's still here, he wants to come in. Oh yeah, he's still here, he wants his stuff. I got a message on Talking Parents this morning at bar time, typically at bar time, stating that he was going to try for a civil assist sometime this week. That doesn't mean when I'm at Walmart with my son to all of a sudden send another Talking Parents message, I'm at your door for my civil assist, and then I'm getting called by the police saying, yeah, we're here at your home, are you here? Could you let us in? No! And for that matter, I'm not supposed to be on the property when this is scheduled. So after all day of, getting the police to leave my door, Aaron and I are supposed to be gone, If we would have scheduled it for when I was at Walmart, sure. But don't just say that you're at my door. I need the opportunity to move his stuff from the back corner of the back bathroom. I've got it in my second bathtub, all his stuff. If I let him into my place, he's going all the way through my home. He's going through every room to get to that bathroom, because that's the way the apartment is designed. I have his stuff, and I have for the whole last year, have had his stuff in that back bathtub. When we're scheduled to do the civil assist, when he's scheduled to remove his stuff, I will be moving his stuff to the entryway of the apartment, where he can't so much as go into the bathroom or the kitchen. You open up the door, here's your pile of trash bags, be gone, okay? That's how the civil assist works. We schedule over Talking Parents. This time works for me, okay, this time works for me too, let's do it. Friday at 3, whatever. I'll have your stuff at the entryway door, and it will be there, and you will not go any further into my home. That's how this works. Don't send a message at bar time saying, oh, I'll be there sometime this week, and then show up with the cops. You don't do that. That's not how it works. It was explained in very detailed terms in court by Jim Crow Judge Torrington how we do this. Contact through talking parents. Hey, does Friday at 3 or whatever time work for you? Yeah, sure, that works for me. Okay, let's do it. The cop will be there. Okay, here's your stuff by the front door. Bye. That's how it works. It's not sending a message at bar time that you'll be there sometime this week and then showing up with the cop in a U-Haul. No, no, no. That is not how you do that. And then after being sent away, you do not continue calling the police. I told her I'm here, I told her I'm here, she better get my stuff ready, she better get my stuff ready. No, 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 no. I'm not jumping and flashing around and getting your stuff to the door all lickety-split in a tornado hurry. No, 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 not gonna happen. Nor am I gonna let this crazy psychopath traipse through my home without me there to take whatever he wants. Because when he was evicted from our home, when the restraining order was originally served on him, he took my son's, gaming and YouTube, no service, but it gets Wi-Fi, little old phone, and he took his wagon, and he took almost an ounce of concentrate, marijuana, and 2 ounces, maybe a little more of actual, medical flour. So, he took the entire medical stockpile and my son's wagon and my son's phone, because the phone has access to my Google Drive, and I'm still having issues with my Google Drive and, finding files that it may either disappear all of a sudden, and emails that are disappearing from my archives, and things are going screwy with my Google account still. But Thomas Stetzer was able to claim, oh no, I don't have the wagon, I don't have the marijuana, and I smashed the wagon, and I don't know what she's talking about with the phone. And that was acceptable. If I allow Thomas Stetzer the opportunity to just go all the way through my house and gather the stuff that he says is his, I'm going to have an empty apartment when I come home. And who knows what opportunity he'll have to lay traps, because, he's not going to get watched like a hawk. The cop just bored wanting to get this done with. He's not going to care. He's probably going to be standing out in the hallway waiting. So, yeah, I'm going to have recording software running during this civil assist crap removal, because I can't just trust fate and trust the police that he's not going to steal a bunch of stuff again. I'm going to come home and find no TV, no furniture, gutted to the wall. It's like a completely empty apartment. Oh yeah, all that stuff was his. Yeah, no, it wasn't. So, this is what the law is here in Colorado. He's allowed to have his knives, he's allowed to plot to kidnap, he's allowed to use the police to harass and stalk me all day. It's all okay. And he is allowed to pursue contact with my son, even though he raped me for 14 months and owned us for 5 years. He brutalized my son, he terrorized me. He beat Aaron as a standard disciplinary measure. He grabbed him by the neck as a standard control measure. This man could have killed us any time he wanted to and got away with it because of how isolated we were. Half a dozen people on this planet knew we were alive, and they didn't see us enough to really care what happened or would know what would happen. So, this is what we're up against here in the state of Colorado. And hopefully between Change.org, the Andrew Yang 2020 staffers, and the other advocacy groups, some of the really big ones, but I don't want to disclose until there's any official cooperation, but I really, need backup and support and help with this. Because we can't leave the state of Colorado. He can have a secret address somewhere in Westminster, but he knows exactly where my home is here in Denver because I don't have the resources to move. I'm trying to legally transport myself and my son to Canada as immigrants, as legal, registered, permanent residency card carrying immigrants. But I can't even leave the state of Colorado. If we try and cross the border of Colorado and get caught, I'm automatically guilty of kidnapping, and my son gets to be returned to his loving, estranged father. There really is no justice in the state of Colorado. They don't take into consideration Aaron's well-being, because it's obvious how much better he's doing under my care than he ever was under Stetzer slavery hell. He's a completely different, unrecognizable little boy than who he was a year ago. And that's because of Operation Freedom. It's not just because, well, he was 4 and now he's 5. Aaron has developed miraculously during this time. And that's only because of Operation Freedom and because he hasn't been subjected to my rapists, our owners' abuse and terror and beatings and fear and brutality and screaming and, boy, fetch my pipe. And that's not our lives anymore. Aaron's been allowed to thrive and grow. He's not Aaron Stetzer anymore. 4th generation, allegedly outlaw biker, supposed great-grandson of the founder of the Outlaws. That's not who my son is anymore. And even though he's still pretty rough on me quite a bit of the time, it's because that's what he's been so rigorously shown, all of those rough toddler moments, the tantrums, the fighting, the make me, I don't want to go to bed, I don't want to eat my vegetables, all of those bad toddler moments had been trained so rigorously. Whenever he acted up, he was rewarded for it. Whenever he had to be in Thomas's control and out of my control. When Aaron acted up and did anything dangerous, like going for stuff in the kitchen or whatever, he was rewarded for his tenacity and his quickness and his cleverness, and I was berated and terrorized, and knives came out and threats came out and all that because I was a crappy mom and allowed my son to go willy-nilly in the kitchen. I'm vacuuming the living room, dude. Life was hell for 5 years. And the courts in Denver, Colorado don't care. They have rewarded Thomas for that and, given me the status of a non-disabled, lazy, freeloading welfare queen who is vindictively keeping my son away from his loving dad who wants to provide the whole world for him. The court in Denver, Judge Jennifer Torrington, did everything she could to ensure that justice would not occur. She did everything to ensure that my son and I would continue to live in fear. You know, I don't know when Thomas is going to decide to go to Aaron's school. I don't know how that's going to end. I don't know how many days or when he's going to try again to bring the police to my door unannounced and unscheduled, pretending that this is a civil assist. It's not. It's using the police department as an aid to harass and stalk us in our home, and trying to bother and see us in our home against the protection order. Sorry, I'm getting muscle cramps sitting here. But anyhow, you know, this is what our lives are, you know. I'm just waiting for the day when Thomas is going to show up at my door with the police again. I'm waiting for the day when Thomas is going to show up at Aaron's preschool and try to take him. I'm just waiting for the day when Thomas sees me out and about in town somewhere and kills me and leaves my body on the mountainside, and then has no choice but to take my orphan son into his home. You know, that's what our lives are now. While we receive minimal assistance, survival money from the county of Denver to even just try and live, while I'm trying to fight the corrupt Social Security Bureau. So this is why I'm trying with my jewelry and my graphics designs to, you know, get business rolling and get us moving forward. You know, no longer dependent on the government that wants to see us enslaved until Thomas Stetzer kills me and abducts my son and continues brutalizing and terrorizing him and training him to be an alleged fourth-generation outlaw biker. But without me being dead, without me having any ability to protect my son in any way. We are just waiting for that day to happen because that's the way it's set up. Judge Jennifer Torrington knowingly accepts that Thomas Stetzer raped me at knife point for 14 months, owned us under knife point, under constant death threats. You know, we were in hell for 5 years. Aaron wasn't allowed to speak. You know, if he opened his mouth to say anything, Thomas screamed at him to shut up and hit him. Aaron didn't speak. If he needed anything, he either screamed for it or he beat me with a toy until I figured out what he wanted. There was no communication. Life was all about force, dominance, and control. And really, other than having Thomas Stetzer out of our home, not much has changed. And we're still, you know, we are stranded within the boundaries of the state of Colorado. If I go outside of Thomas's range, I'm guilty of kidnapping. I have to give in to the Supervised Visitation program. Torrington wants to move forward to unsupervised overnight home visits as soon as possible. That's the day that I die and Aaron becomes an outlaw, because I'm going to show up at Thomas's address and I'm not going to make it back to my car, because that's the way it is. And as long as Thomas made these threats to kill me and take Aaron and have no boundaries to raise him as an outlaw, no barriers to do whatever he wanted, you know, the state of Colorado is more than happy to oblige. They're more than happy to ignore all evidence that proves the slavery situation we were in. You know, slavery hell is really, you know, not over yet for us. We're just waiting until Thomas makes that next drastic move. that's perfectly acceptable by the county of Denver. So, you know, this is why I'm trying to be an entrepreneur and trying to free us from slavery hell. You know, Stetzer's law of rape and ownership and force, dominance, and control. This needs to end. Hopefully with, you know, my messages to change.org and the Yang 2020 campaign and the National Action Network and the Colorado's, you know, other governing bodies, you know, the governor himself, Congress, senators. I'm going to get hold of anyone and everyone I possibly can in order to end the laws of rape and slavery finally. You know, to end Thomas Stetzer's ownership of us. You know, to make it not okay to threaten our lives, you know. Aaron deserves to have a future that doesn't involve being a predator, rapist, abuser, thug. Thomas Stetzer trained my baby boy to be an attack animal. He dehumanized him in every way possible for the first 4 years of his life. And the time he spent in my womb. We were cattle, we were property, we were animals to Thomas Stetzer. And the state of Colorado gleefully accepts that and extends that. This is what we're fighting. So, yeah, this is where we're at. So thank you for listening. I hope that you're willing and able to pass my message along. You know, spread the word that this is happening. Or else all of a sudden I'll just be dead and no one will know why. And Aaron will be raised by his loving, awesome daddy. And in 20 years, we're going to have an issue when all of a sudden these women are turning up killed. And, you know, or whatever Aaron's going to grow up to do if he's trained like this. I can't let it happen. If I let this continue, if I just abide by Judge Torrington's decrees, then it's only a matter of time before Thomas Stetzer takes the opportunity to kill me and have nothing in his way to continue training my son as an attack animal. Aaron is a brilliant, sweet, industrious little boy. He's, you know, empathetic to his friends. He communicates, he builds, he thinks, he wants to protect me and Mumu Kitty from bad guy daddy. And I'm trying to teach him that we go to people and we fight with words and with evidence and with proof, and we show them that this terrible, wrong situation needs to end. You know, I'm trying to teach him that we fight with wisdom, not with violence. But how can I teach him that when the laws of rape and slavery are endlessly enforced by the city and county of Denver and by the state of Colorado, with laws like, you know, even a parent who is not fit to be a caregiver or share decision-making responsibilities is entitled to reasonable parenting time. This has been on the books since 1980. I need to change this. It's going to be 2019, and today, tomorrow, it's going to be 2020, and this law was made in 1980, stating that an unfit parent deserves parenting time. That's a scary concept. That Colorado has been immovable and non-budging on this for 40 years, ignoring the best interest of the child and maintaining a policy of keeping the child's relationship with both parents. That policy supersedes all common sense. Our lives are hanging in the balance, and Colorado's cool with it. So please, share my links. I'm going to post my Patreon links. I recorded and documented that fracas divorce hearing. I need to document and share and expand the knowledge of what is going on in the state of Colorado and all over these United States. This needs to change. Survivors of slavery and rape need to be granted closure. I'm at the mercy of my phone telling me, "You have a new message on Talking Parents. It's Thomas demanding to see Aaron and demanding to get his stuff. You have a new message on Talking Parents. You have a new message on Talking Parents. You have a new message on Talking Parents. You have a new message on Talking Parents." It's monotonous and unending, and it's demanding visitation and the civil assist that he's not scheduling. He's not scheduling any of this. He's just making the demands and showing up at the door with the cops. And it's okay because he has the police with him. It's okay to stalk my house. It's okay to have them call me. It's okay to be at my door. It's okay to be waiting in the parking lot. It's okay to be hanging out at the church 2 blocks away. It's okay to stalk and harass and bother me at all times of the day and night with demands for his stuff that he abandoned a year ago, and my son, who's the product of his rapes. We're finally recovering from Stetzer slavery hell. Aaron Kirchhoff is a completely different, amazing, sweet little boy compared to Aaron Stetzer. Children were afraid to come near Aaron Stetzer. My cat was afraid to come near Aaron Stetzer. I was afraid to come near Aaron Stetzer. Because if we came near Aaron Stetzer, we were subject to a beatdown. It didn't matter if it was because he wanted something or because he wanted to communicate something. We were getting beat by Aaron Stetzer. Aaron Kirchhoff talks and does art projects with mommy and communicates and learns. And when he's watching educational programming on TV, he's shouting out the answers so proud and so smart. Aaron Kirchhoff is making friends in school. Aaron Kirchhoff is inspiring grown-ups just out and about at Walmart. "Oh, what a sweet little well-behaved little boy you have. Oh, I know, Aaron Kirchhoff is the most amazing little guy ever." Aaron Stetzer, I couldn't take to the grocery store for milk on an emergency. I have to pay a babysitter $15 to quick run to the market to get a gallon of milk. I can't afford anything else we need because I just had to pay the babysitter $15 to go get a gallon of milk. That's what life was before and in the early stages of Operation Freedom with Aaron Stetzer. Now, I just took Aaron Kirchhoff to Walmart for groceries and stuff. He was such a good little boy in the Walmart that even though it's just after Christmas, I still got him a couple Matchbox cars. Aaron Kirchhoff is a good little boy. He wants to help. If I can't find something on the shelf, it's like, "Hey, Aaron, help me find this or that," and he'll find it. "Here's a Jell-O, Mom. Oh, thanks, man." Whatever. He'll find stuff that he's interested in, and he'll ask me instead of clubbing me with it. He's such a good little boy. Aaron's doing so well. Aaron Kirchhoff has a bright, amazing future where, he might be an engineer, he might dig for dinosaurs, he might anything. He's still very athletic. Aaron Kirchhoff might be a star player for the Calgary Flames someday. But as the law in Colorado stands, we're always going to be chained to Thomas John Stetzer. We're always going to be at his beck and call. Anytime he wants to see my son and continue imposing his presence, just his presence is enough to enforce the law of slavery into Aaron's mind. He regressed months and months, right back to square one, when he had even 2 little visits. All of a sudden, we were all faced with Aaron Stetzer again, and fights and war and violence and force and screaming and tantrums, because Aaron knew that Thomas Stetzer means violence and dominance and force and control and inhumanity. Anytime there's something vandalized in the hallway at our apartment complex, Aaron thinks it means bad guy daddy was here. I need to fight him to keep you, meaning me, and Moo Kitty safe. His therapist and his teachers and I are trying to uncoach Aaron in teaching him that the adults are supposed to solve this problem and keep him safe with words and evidence and knowledge and wisdom, not with violence and fear and force. And even if, but Mommy, I got strong muscles. Aaron, you don't fight this battle. It's the adults' battle to fight. He's supposed to be a little boy. But, he finally gets to be a little boy, as long as Thomas Stetzer is kept out of our lives. But with Judge Jennifer Torrington and the other district court judges in Denver, and laws stating that even a parent who's not fit to be a caregiver or share decision-making responsibilities is entitled to reasonable parenting time. That's disgusting and regressive and dangerous. Torrington wanting to move us on to unsupervised overnight parenting time is disgusting. It's dangerous. With all of Thomas's death threats and with his continued permission to have his knife fetish collection, I know that with visitation, one of these times will be the time that he kills me. With the visits that we already had, quote-unquote supervised, he gave Aaron stuff that was stolen. He tried to run out in the middle of the road when we left the place. He tried to get himself run down by my car. I had to brake and swerve and was glad there wasn't other traffic. He aimed himself for my car. And Aaron's behavior regressed all the way back to square one for weeks after a short supervised visit with a zookeeper in the lion cage. It's not okay to let your baby boy visit the lion cage even if the zookeeper's there. It's just not. Thomas John Stetzer has been preying on disabled women since 1979. After me, he transitioned to drug-addicted, homeless prostitutes. And each one of them was older and more strung out and closer to death than the last in his procession. This is what our lives are now. We're not far off from Stetzer slavery hell. It's literally right outside our door until the day that Thomas decides to come back into the building without the police, or pull something on a visitation schedule day, or pull something at my son's school, or happen to see us at Walmart sometime, or anything. he has full liberty to do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, and we can't stop him. You know, it's disgustingly dangerous, as I've said many times. That's why I need your help. I need you to share my message. I need you, to show your support, liking and subscribing and going to my shops or anything you can do to help tell society that slavery and rape are not okay. That this shouldn't be the law of the land anymore. This needs to stop. So, if you're able to help in any way, to help the laws change, to help this practice stop, to help my son and me have our lives, I can be an artist and designer, and Aaron can be an architect, an engineer, an athlete, in any sport he wants. We can have a future. But if that future is attached to Thomas Stetzer, the only future we have is that I'll be dead, and Aaron's going to think he's a fourth-generation outlaw biker, and he's going to know how to prey on cripples, and he's going to know how to prey on prostitutes, and he's going to know how to fix up a needle rig, and he's going to know how to beat and rape someone, and he's going to know how to be a complete shitbag like his father. And that's what my son's future is going to be. So that's why I'm fighting the Civil War. Because if I quietly go along with the decrees of Judge Torrington and the bogus slavery enforcing, rape enforcing laws of the state of Colorado, we're in hell until we die. And my son isn't going to have a future that anyone wants or wants to be anywhere near. He's such a sweet, smart little boy when he has the opportunity to be. In the almost year since Operation Freedom, my son has blossomed. Not just growing 2 3/4 inches in 3 clothing sizes, but he has blossomed. He's evolved from homophobe erectus like his dad, like my rapist. He's on his way. He's right there, ready to become humane sapien, humane and wise, instead of a violent predator who hates people of race, who hates people with disabilities, who hates women, who preys on everyone violently. Violence was the first and strongest lesson that Thomas Stetzer imparted onto my son. So thank you, again, for helping me fight the Civil War, and, for sharing your love and support, and for helping us in any way you can. We need hope to change these corrupt laws before we get killed by Thomas John Stetzer and these Jim Crow judges. So thank you, and God bless. Take care, and I hope that I'll have more time to keep you all posted and updated and communicate with you guys. Maybe even be able to talk about fun, mundane, daily things instead of just this battle that I'm facing. So thank you. May God's peace be with you, and may this new year bless us all. And please let this turn out okay. Please let my son and me have a future, instead of just existing in hell until that's your law of slavery and kills us. So, that's all I can think to say right now. So, thank you. God bless and peace out.